The second life cycle stage in project management is planning. Now, in the planning stage, among others, the deliverables are the work breakdown structure, budgeting, scheduling, as well as risk management. Okay? In developing a project plan, first is to be clear about the objectives. Then we look at the schedules, establish resource requirements. Choosing the personnel is also a task. We look at the contractual aspects, and even the evaluation methods will have to be defined at the onset of the project. Now, potential problems must also be looked into, and that will involve identifying certain risk factors that should be included in a project. Now, in this slide, it is shown that the plan development starts with a statement of work. Okay, and this will lead to a work breakdown structure from which all activities will be defined and from which the resources will have to be identified. Okay. And this will lead to the estimated activity durations so that a schedule will follow. Alongside with it will be the cost that will be estimated for each activity so that it can come up with a budget, and that will make and that will comprise the project plan. An equally important concept in this planning stage is the project scope. The project scope is actually everything about the project work content as well as the expected outcomes. And therefore, scope management is defined as the function of controlling a project in terms of its goals and objectives. And these are conceptual development, scope statement, work authorization, scope reporting, control systems, and the project closeout. Now, after having determined the different activities in order to complete the project in the WBS, okay, and after also having assigned the resources, we can now go into budget. Okay? Now, if we will recall in the triple constraints, scope, time, and cost, now this aspect is one of the more important factors that will have to be considered in project management. Of course, we start with a forecast of what will be needed, how much in terms of cost, okay, and also when will it be needed. So all of this will make up a budget. Why is budgeting for projects becoming tougher? So simply because the resources are very limited, and we all know that the expense is a major management concern. There are two approaches in budgeting, top-down, and the second one is bottom-up. Now, top-down budgeting, as the term implies, a project budget or overall estimates will be established by top managers, and later these figures are given to the low-level managers to continue the breakdown into budget estimates for specific work activities. One of the advantages in top-down budgeting is that the estimates are more accurate And the second advantage is where is a high predictability of the project estimates because of the stability of the total allocation of these budgets. The second approach is bottom-up budgeting. In this method, the individual budgets are constructed through the work breakdown structure. Okay? So estimates are made in terms of the resources. Okay? Examples are hours and materials, and later they are converted to monetary equivalents. So advantages, it's more accurate in detailed tasks, but there can also be disadvantages since there can be overstatement of the resources by the subordinates. Now, aside from the two approaches, we have project management will have to contend with behavioral issues in budgeting. Okay? So, people involved in cost estimates, okay, budget preparations, have different perspectives based, okay, and are also based on managerial level. Now, there are issues also like the incorporation of contingency plans into the budget. Okay? So if contingencies are considered at every level, okay, so budgets can be overstated, and therefore project managers will have to be very vigilant in reviewing the details of the budget. Okay? Now, before we end the discussion on budget, project management will also have to deal with financial issues, okay, more particularly inflation. So to recap, in planning, project planning, we need to first define the scope based on clear objectives and a client statement. And then this will lead us to defining all the activities that are required to complete the project. And this can be presented in what we call a work breakdown structure, where the entire project is broken down into work packages, and the different tasks are shown with precedence relationships. Knowing that different activities, we can now have the assignment of resources, or allocation, and we can also aggregate, smoothen, as well as level. So we know the activities, we know the resources, and we can now develop the budget. So in budgeting, there are two approaches, the top-down as well as the bottom-up. So this will now consist the major elements of what we call as the baseline plan. And the second most important lesson in project management was mentioned earlier. We plan the work and work the plan.